So before I ever actually, like, I was signed with WWE, but I was in OVW. And when the TV tapings were close to Louisville, they would have us drive out to them. So, and Bob was already aware of me. He met me because he came down to OVW, and he was there for another classic mess up on my part where I didn't show up for a TV taping. And this was my first week in OVW, mind you. I went straight from the airport to the arena. I started going to practice pretty much from the day I got there. But, I was very green. I didn't know anything. And I looked at the TV sheet and I didn't see my name on there. So I just kind of figured, oh, maybe I'm not needed and I'll take this opportunity to pick up some stuff I need for the house, do some shopping and get settled in. But, obviously I got a huge promo cut on me by Danny Davis and Jim Cornette, a guy fairly well. And, and Bob Holly was there for that. So he didn't have a good taste in his mouth about me. It was just a bad move. But, I learned my lesson from it. But you fast forward to we were at a TV taping visiting, all of us and getting in the ring before the show, yada, yada, yada. And like I'm sure everybody else does that, shaking hands is a big thing in wrestling. It's a sign of respect, especially when you're a green guy and you're coming into the locker room and you got guys who've been there as long as Bob and JBL and all the veterans that were there in the time. I mean, like, let's face it. I mean, I grew up watching a lot of these guys. So the funny thing is I was more intimidated than anything else. I mean, I was only 20 years old at the time, and I'm thrust into, not guys that are from my class, but this is still all the guys, again, I grew up with. And Bob essentially just got mad because I walked into the locker room and he was having a conversation with three other guys. And I didn't shake his hand when I saw him that day, because I saw him or I barely did see him, but he was like crowded with three other guys and I didn't want to interrupt. So I just kind of went to my bag and, Bob really took that as a sign of disrespect. Like I was like shunning him, or I purposely didn't go to greet him, and he was upset. And in his mind too, it's like, oh, this is that same punk kid that didn't show up for the OVW TV taping. Now he's disrespecting me. And who does he, and a lot of guys were just kind of like, they couldn't understand, like at 20 years old for the size I had and everything, there was a lot of, it got me a lot of heat just coming in, you know what I mean? Because, I think a lot of people knew I was going to get a push and all that stuff. So, I was kind of a heat magnet in terms of just that. And then some of my actions brought it on, learning the business, learning the etiquette of the business was still something I was learning in Louisville. Yeah, but Bob was mad and he was supposed to wrestle Carlito that night. And yeah, he went out of his way to try to change the match so he could rough me up. And, but they didn't switch it.